My name is Zamkor Patel, and I'm going to be presenting my capstone presentation. My question is, to what extent do video games develop coordination in youth? My stimulus comes from Kurt Squire, and he is a professor at the University of California in Irvine, former professor and former director of the GLS, and he believes that video games can be incorporated into youth education. So the learning is similar to Pac-Man is the idea that learning comes in patterns, and Pac-Man is it's an arcade game that it takes video games to a simple level. So you just start out with this guy and you run around and collect dots. Alright. Video games aren't just your typical sit-on-the-couch controllers. The Wii brought a new meaning to video games because it came in a new format in nunchucks. So the nunchuck format was popular among the kids with special needs, such as development. And according to Mark Griffiths, professor of gambling studies in the psychology division, he found research that video games helped kids with cerebral palsy develop their coordination. And this one other guy did research on brain biofeedback. So some concerns about video games are from Craig A. Anderson, a professor from Stanford, who wrote an article stating that 89% of video games portray some form of violence, whether it be a rated M game or your Super Mario Brothers 2 from the 90s. And video games tend to latch on to their players, which represents a growing concern among parents and critics that video games increase sociopathy and desensitization and distort from reality. And this picture here presents a double meaning to it, because the parent is looking away from his child who's playing video games, and the child is playing a pretty violent video game. It's Cop Killer rated M, and this represents a concern that parents aren't doing a good job of monitoring their kids' playing times. As a survey from Craig A. Anderson represents that kids often spend up to 9 hours playing video games during school days. This is my social perspective that, as opposed to the lone gamer theory, video games are actually a virtual world and they bring players together. A study done by students from Dartmouth and Rutgers on Minecraft shows that when they added more logins for Minecraft, the players were better able to communicate and build up their communities. A study done by Kurt Squire also states, that when games such as Avatar was released, it forced players to come together because of its ranging difficulty. And that's my stuff.